Hey everyone, this is Tom from MonTac here, and we are back at it again with another match of the week. This time it's for the Pro Division title. We have got Big Time Bob at that #1 ranked contender spot, taking on Minismoke, and it looks like this could be yet another Monstarmory matchup as Minismoke launches with a Glowjaw right off the bat. Monstarmory is currently one of the best archetypes in the game. In fact, in the Master Tactician final, both players were using Monstarmory in their decks. At Big Time Bob now, of course, is going to be getting a huge boost of support as his Tim, which is generally where you'll see that little toad there, Tim the Toad, is a deck that he loves so much, and it's just so recently been used by the Master Tactician to win the Master Tactician title, or I should say retain it. But that means that we are expecting a very meta-relevant Tim the Toad deck right now, facing off with Minismoke, who's probably going to be using some sort of shenanigans to try and keep their pro title. Both players have earned their way here, just trying to see how this will play out. Star Hand from Minismoke is really good for Bob, because it gives Bob so much health that when they use their Corrosive Toad, basically it's a card that makes both players lose damage at the same time, by giving them so much health, Bob is going to be able to utilize his aggression to really crunch down Minismoke in the early game. But as you can see there, Minismoke has slapped down Stained Glass Star, a constant tactical that while it's in play during preparation stage, Minismoke gains a health point. So that little difference between health won't last forever. It's going to be very interesting to see how Bob returns and if they actually play what we expect them to. Extreme Max 10, of course, is such a huge meta choice right now. Basically a card that prevents all of your constants from perishing due to enemy cards. A really interesting thing about this strategy here is, as you can see, Minismoke has gone double Star Hand, but Big Time Bob is still at 10 health, and that's because of Extreme Max 10. It keeps both players at a maximum of 10 health as opposed to the normal maximum of 15. And right off the bat, we're going to go with a Monstarmory Blader. Honestly, probably one of the biggest reasons Monstarmory is such a strong deck right now is this card has the ability to pop a constant in play to bounce a monster in play. Now, why is this scary? Well, the idea is that your enemy can't really use constants, because if they do, they'll lose them to this Blader. Holy smokes, there's a second one. Alright, well, let me just finish this first. But Blader, basically what it does is it pops a constant, bounces a card. Why is that important? Well, with what Blader does is, when you send your own Monstarmory generator constant, it actually returns itself to the field. So you have basically a forever resource that you can use to keep bouncing monsters on either player's turn at any point. Of course, you are limited to once per turn per copy, but it's still very useful in dealing with a lot of very strong cards like Elder Monsters, like a lot of stuff where you play from hand to sacrifice stuff like a Mechanism level 3, Starstriker Mistress. These strategies can keep them at bay and push your enemy's hand and try to kind of divert the defenses. Holy smokes, we're going over Kalidas. This is getting incredibly aggressive from Minismoke. I'm not sure how long this match will go, but going into Kalidas on top of getting the double Star Hand is very unusual. I'm not sure why they've gone this route, but they must be looking for one certain card to add to their hand. It's a very anti-constant deck here from Minismoke. Of course, they've also got Widespread Termination, which is just really well done, because the major thing with Widespread Termination is it actually makes your health limit removed. So basically it gives you no health limit. Now you might be asking, well, you've just told me about this Extreme Max 10 that makes the limit 10, and now you're telling me there's no limit. Which one is it? It really depends on which one's played last. If you play Max 10 first and then a Widespread Termination, I'll just put that up there, then Widespread Termination will take effect. But if you do the other way, then Max 10 will take effect. Now, here's where things get extra complicated for no reason. Holy smokes, we've got a... What the heck is this? Monstarmory Scout Talent. Dang, so right off the bat, Bob is taking the turn and going for that. Well, that'll halve that Blader right there. Another Monstarmory Mirror. This is going to be very interesting. But as I was previously saying, Widespread Termination will take precedence here and allow Minismoke to have unlimited health. However, Bob will still have the max of 10, since Widespread only affects the player using it in terms of its unlimited health gain. So this is going to be a very, very interesting situation here for Bob to navigate. Summary generator, so we're once again seeing the mirror match for the pro title. It is very rare to see a mirror match for the pro title, so this is incredibly exciting. We'll have to see who has mastered their variation better. We're about to find out now. So we're going to go with Monster Generator played. They're going to use Blader to pop it. Okay, Generator has been sent from a Monstarium Blader, which is, I think what Minismoke is trying to do is deal with the Generator multiple times so that it can pop Generator. Because the idea, the whole limit to MonTac cards is that they can't use their abilities more than twice per turn. And what makes that scary is with Generator, its revival tactic can only happen up to 2 times per turn. So if Minismoke can somehow pop it 3 times, they can remove it from the field. However, unfortunately they don't actually have a good way to do that at the moment. They have Kaleidos, but they would have to wait till Minismoke's next turn. And by using this early, this gives Bob all the time in the world to figure out Minismoke's strategy. They can use their Blader, but it won't deal, it will bounce the Generator goes away, but now what they're not quite realizing is Bob can always just, I guess it's a good question, they can't actually pop Minismoke's Generator, so they will shut off Bob from using Generator for the rest of the turn, but that doesn't necessarily stop him from playing another constant, just using that in general. It's interesting. It's a very interesting situation here for Bob. Bob can easily just slack down another 10 talent though. We'll have to see how they approach this. It seems they're being a bit more cautious now. They kind of look at things a little bit more differently, trying to kind of regroup, figure out where the holes are in the defense of Minismoke and try to take advantage. It's going to be very hard for Bob. This is the first time these two have ever competed against each other. Minismoke from Brazil, Bob from the United States. And if Bob wins, he would be, I think, he'll be actually, what? Yeah, he would be the next United States champion. I think we haven't had a United States champion since, I want to say, April or May. So not too far ago, but yeah, no, it would be very unusual if he could do it with Tim. Because Tim is a very hard deck to build around and make playable. So we'll have to see how that ends up going for them. Grimstaff of Calling. Ooh, this would be normally a horrible play, I'm going to say. But the only reason this is okay is the fact that Minismoke has used both their Bladers already. And it looks like Big Time Bob is using Grimstaff with Monster Tactician, something they watched the current Master Tactician APOC do when they retained their title against Minismoke. It looks like now they're trying to do the exact same thing to Minismoke, and this is surely setting off alarm bells in Minismoke's mind. Grimstaff of Calling is looking absolutely nasty right now. This is a very long card, but the major premise is you send a bunch of Apex monsters to the Perish Pile before sudden death, and then in sudden death you can play them all regardless of the conditions. You do also get rid of your enemy's Tacticalism, but it also just gives you a bunch of monsters later in the game that are super easy to get out. So now all they need to do is probably just get rid of that Tacticalism. So they're just going through now to remove the Tacticalism. Let's see what would have been, and it's a mono axe, I think. Yeah. So very interesting card there. That would have removed the specialty of an enemy monster and then given 2,000 to a Monstarium monster you command. Very, very good. But it is very specific. However, your entire deck is Monstarium, then you're fine. 10 talent once again will drop those Bladers down. Big thing for Bob though is probably to neutralize the Kaleidos. I'm not sure if they can get through. It's going to be very tricky. Minismoke will also have a Widespread Termination online next turn. However, with Bob now running Tim, the biggest counter to Monstari, it is going to be super interesting to see if Minismoke has prepared for this matchup, knowing that Bob is such a big fan of Tim, or has Minismoke just potentially thought, it wasn't worth addressing. We'll have to see. Maybe there's something Minismoke has incorporated, has something has added, and yeah, keep your eyes peeled. We can see some craziness happen. Okay, Blader goes down. Keep in mind, none of Minismoke's Bladers can activate, and Bob cannot sacrifice their own generator for Blader. So it's a very tough situation here, but they're going to go to Conflict right off the bat. Minismoke needs to shut this down. If they can't stop this, they're in trouble. And they're going to get blocking with Savage Dual Shield. Great play from Minismoke here. Minismoke now has the opportunity to deal with Monstarm Regenerator. So it's a great play. I do wonder why Bob... Actually, no, I guess Bob couldn't use... The thing about here, now this is where it's incredibly intense, is the first play will be huge. If you are Minismoke in this case, you're going to use Blader. And you would need to pop Monstarm Regenerator, bouncing back the Blader. If you do that, you can start to take over the match. But if he makes the wrong decision here, it could be fatal. He can't bounce back the... Yep. So he's going to bounce the Blader back, and he's going to pop, I imagine, Generator. Oh no, hold on. He's popping it with Kalidas. Okay, not even wasting time with Kalidas, but that does mean Generator isn't removed this turn. I don't know if that was the right play, if I'm honest. Shutting off Generator is definitely a very important part of Monstarm. I'm not sure I'm so sold on that strategy right there, but, you know, maybe there's something we're not aware of. I'm not sure, but yeah, that seems unfortunate. Now Generator is fine. They do lose Blader, but I do believe that Bob can revive Blader anyway, so it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. Entering Conflict with a roll of 1. Doesn't seem that big of a deal, but definitely is room to capitalize here. Minismoke, yeah, Minismoke really needs to get rid of that Tim or force Bob to take more and more health, which is what they're going to do. They're going to strike with Kalidas. Trying to pop, yeah, popping Grimstaff of Calling, which definitely sucks for Bob here. It does make you wonder why on earth he played Grimstaff, considering now, unless he revives Grimstaff, he's just kind of stuffed. So they're going to attack it, they're going to sack 2. Why did they lose 4 health? I actually don't know why they lost 4 health. Maybe it's something I haven't seen. Oh, so I think the idea is they must have sacked health to stop it from being bounced. Otherwise, I don't know why they sacked health so much. Ah, yes, okay, so they beat over it and then they try to bounce. He just sacks 4 twice. But that does mean that Minismoke can now use the second Blader to deal with that Toad. Bounce it back to hand, but again, is that really going to do much at this point? This is a very grindy match. Can't really interact too much. Like these Bladers are going to be very difficult for Bob. But if Bob can get through these things quickly, he does have a shot. If he can be the last one with Blader, he does have a shot at doing well. But if he lets this snowball, he could be in a really big problem. These Bladers are a huge issue. They are weak though. 875 is a lot more easy to deal with than their current starting, which is like 1750. So we're engaging now the Tintalit, which is a good play. Do they gauge Tim? Looks like they might be going for Tim here. So now they're calculating the chances of Bob having oppression, which I do believe Bob will have oppression. It's a class 1 card that gives 2000 to the lowest monster in play, which definitely would be Tim. And with Tim then being corrosive at 2000, that could be a huge problem very quickly. Roll for Tim, we go roll of 5. Max 10 goes down. So that will override the widespread termination of Minismoke, which means Minismoke is not going to be getting tons and tons of health this time. And when Stunning Blader comes down, Minismoke is probably going to want to try to bounce that thing, try to shut it off, but now they can't get rid of Generator enough. And this means that Bob is in a very good position, especially now in preparation stage where you can still play monsters freely from your hand. At this point, Bob is really looking to start damaging Minismoke's board. The problem is they can't touch the back row, which is going to really stuff him in terms of momentum. He really needs to disrupt that, get rid of that termination, potentially, definitely shut off that max 10 would be very smart. And I think we might be about to see that come to fruition. Here he comes. So Pelumbra is absolutely gigantic. Why does this matter? This is a card that shuts off all constant tacticals your enemy commands while it's in play. Minismoke has no room to play one of their own, and Pelumbra allows them now to shut off max 10. It shuts off Star, it shuts off Termination. This is a huge play from Bob, but the issue you have to run into is the fact that Bob is playing this so early. Will that cost them later on? I think that because Minismoke has lost their tacticalism and is now playing out Clyde so early, I think this will be okay for Bob, but it's definitely something to be a little bit worried about, and we'll have to see if Minismoke has learned from that match with APOC on how to deal with the situation. Minismoke has one chance to respond to this play. If they do nothing, and they're going to say no response, okay, Bob has got all the time in the world to make this decision on what they're going to do with this huge advantage now. This has completely turned the match around. If they can shut off these bladers, deal with them, get rid of them, huge play. Now, Minismoke is also in a position where they can't even use their own bladers, or rather, technically they can if they select the generator on Bob's side of the field, but they're going to have attacking Pelumbra over the blader. This would definitely be scary for Minismoke, or for Bob I should say, if Minismoke has the power up. This is a very intense situation right now, I'm not going to lie. Minismoke is going to have to start thinking now. This could be where the game completely changes, and Blader is gone! Holy smokes, this is crazy. Okay, that was a very, very tentative response there, but wow, definitely a good play. Blader is going to beat out a Blader. If this gets through, this will be crazy. Titan Destroy Sword will work here. It'll get them to a total of like... what is that going to stat going to be? Yeah. It's going to be like 2375. So that's pretty decent. Yeah, Bob is going to need, I think, their own Titan to get above this. Which definitely works here. Does he have it? That was the question. If he has it, then this game gets blown wide open. So they're going to use Blader to bounce their own regenerator, or they're going to bounce the enemy regenerator. See it. So there was a mistake there from Bob. They used Blader to sack their own generator to bounce the card. If they had sacked Minismoke's generator, there'd be no generator left for Minismoke, as it cannot activate while Pelumbra is in play. That definitely sucks. It's a huge misplay from Bob there, but at least they did get to force Minismoke to play out. They will force Minismoke to potentially make their priority play being Blader, and then they can respond by popping the generator on Minismoke's side, since they do have Pelumbra in play. So again, very good plays, but unfortunately that there is that one misplay which could be critical. It might not matter in a huge way, but I think losing generator here would be pretty big for Bob. I just personally, I think that was a pretty bad misplay, but again, these guys are playing at such a high level that we can't be too critical of them. Roll of 5. They're going to sack 6 health for an immediate... Ooh, wait. They can't sack health. Wow. Minismoke is feeling the burn. Pelumbra shuts off all their constants. They can't gain health. They can't even sack health for termination. They're not protected from max 10. Belumber has just shut off their entire strategy here. But don't feel too bad. Minismoke is definitely running the same strategy. So this is going to get vicious very quickly. Minismoke is in a situation where they have to deal with Belumber. They drop down Mono Blade. Delay of response. If Bob responds now and shuts off that generator, that changes this entire game. Will he realize it? Because if Monster Generator can't activate due to Belumber, okay, so Bob potentially is going to respond here. Holy smokes, we're going to use Mono Axe, giving the power to Belumber and specially moving Mono Monstermary Blader. Wow. Great play there. That definitely shuts off a lot of the strategy, but if Minismoke has the regen, then this won't really matter. Regeneration is basically a card that can give a monster specialty back. So if Minismoke has that, then that will be a bit of an unfortunate situation, or an unfortunate play there from Bob. The power is until it perishes the power, so okay. I guess they could have saved that for their Apex. Maybe they think they just won't need it. Minismoke has lost their tacticalism, so we'll have to see if they feel like bringing out their Belumber. What do we got? Here he comes. Belumber hits the field. As I told you before, both of them have Belumbers. This is basically a mirror match outside of the Tim incision there. But we got Belumber just rocking it. That'll shut off all of Bob's constants. Good play from Minismoke to just counter that. But at the moment, Bob's is bigger. Bob's Belumber is a lot bigger, and Minismoke doesn't have the same way to build them up. So they're going to use the regeneration as expected to get the specialty back on that Blader, which now allows them to bounce back other stuff. And so Bob is in a situation where they need to potentially either take out the Blader. If I'm in Bob's shoes, I would... Actually, I don't know. Did he use Blader? I don't think he's used Blader. I would use my own Monstermary Blader to pop Minismoke's Monstermary Generator to then bounce back either the Klytus or the Blader. I'm just trying to read it. When this card is in play, it's under the Perish Pile. You may play it from the Perish Pile. You can only have one copy of this card in play. Yeah, that pops Extreme Max 10. Yeah, so Max 10's been shut off. Okay. Max 10 shut off. Bob unaware of that ruling. Because it is a while in play effect, it is constantly activating, and thus Belumber will shut it off, which means that it can no longer protect Bob. So Bob definitely, unfortunately, in a very tough position, once again unprotected against another constant destroyer deck. This is going to be a tough one. If Bob learns to take out that Max 10 or the generator, he can shut everything off. The question is, does he know how to do it? Bob has the way to shut things off. It's just, will he do anything? This is a tough position. Let's see how things go. Going to use, bounce that Blader back to hand. Bob definitely regretting their decisions now. go. Minismoke still has the turns. Minismoke is in a pretty good position. They had the advantage of knowing that ruling and using it to their benefit. Bob is definitely flustered. Losing that max 10 is huge. Sacking 2 for Tim would suck, but yeah, I think they're letting Tim go. They will be fine in terms of getting Tim online later, but we'll have to see. Belumbra still stands as an incredibly difficult situation for Minismoke to overcome. At being at like what, 4,000 I think it is? 4,100? Yeah. So Bob still has the opportunity to turn this around, but not being aware of that ruling has definitely put him at a disadvantage. Yeah, tough situation, but that is what it is, being champion, being aware of all the ways the game can go. It is very tough to hold that title, and Minismoke has done very well to do so. We'll have to see if they can continue to do so. We've got Tantalus coming down again, which will halve something. Probably halving a Klydas, or maybe the one-star Blader, one of those. And it also allows them to power up their search for the constant card, I believe it does. That's right, it adds a Monster Armory card. Right, so we can go grab Glowjaw, very nice. Just halving, are they halving? Yikes, they're halving Blader again. We're in the digits, we're in the decimals, sorry. They're just trying to halve 2375. I'm sure you could probably do it in your head, but for me this is gonna take a little bit. So, but yeah, so overall, looks like Minismoke has the advantage right now. Bob will need to, I think, circumvent and deal with Generator while they still have their Belumbra on field. Yikes. That's gotta be fun to calculate. 1,187.5. Yikes. Okay. So, if you were Bob's situation, how do you turn this around? I would shut off Generator. Actually, wait, why wouldn't you not shut off Widespread? That makes the most sense. This is very interesting play from Bob. I think he might be flustered and he's starting to make bad plays, because I don't know why he wouldn't just go Blader. And now you lose Generator. Yeah, Bob is getting absolutely taken apart here. Go. Roll of 1 for Minismoke. Bob in a tough position. If that Belumbra gets shot off specialty wise, we could see a very tough match for Bob going forward. The asset path for Bob likely is going to be double Dragodian, Belumbra, Unstarring Tactician, and maybe another Belumbra. So still a fair bit left of what he can do, but that's got to sting. Okay, roll of 1 now for Minismoke. They do have the advantage, but they can't get too careless. They are still a deck disadvantage, funny enough, by about 5 cards. Granted, they do have more on the board though. It's actually got 5 cards on the board, so same asset, same field hand. They're basically almost the exact same. Very, very close, I would say. Figuring it out. Trying to figure it out. Taking his time, making sure he's not getting anything wrong. Tough place to be in. Gonna go for Steel Edge Cannon Templar. Sending from main deck. This is a card that basically, when you can play it regardless of class by sending a monster from your deck. You can send 1 or 2 monsters. And then when you play it regardless of class, it gains the original power of the monster send. We're sending 2 3,000 droids, which means we're going to be looking at a total of 7,170. 770, my bad. 750, gosh, I was way off. 7,750 onto the Cannon Templar, which is definitely looking very, very scary right now. Big enough to deal with that Belumbro Bobs. But I don't know if there was any point considering it's dying at the end of this turn, but maybe there's something we don't know. Going to beat over. See what happens here. Tough position to be in. They're currently weighing up all their options. Thinking out loud, you can tell they're thinking very hard. He's even starting to verbalize some of the way he's thinking, which could be a disadvantage, but it's also like, you know, one of the plays that can happen. It's gonna be very interesting. Going back into Monstarmory Tactician. This boy could be much bigger. He's pretty strong, actually, I'm not gonna lie. Holy smokes. And he can't parachute at enemy effects, which means Termination is useless against him. Wow. Great play from Bob. They just need to get this thing big enough and avoid it getting specially moved. We'll have to see if that's possible. Roll for 5. They're going to use Tactician for its priority play. What will they pick? They're going to draw 2 cards. Interesting. So the great thing about Tactician is it's a very basic strategy. And the way it works is during preparation stage you get to choose between these 3 options. You can draw 2 cards, gain 2 health, or have Monstarmory Tactician gain 1,000. And Bob going for the draw 2 might actually be the right play here, just based on the fact that gaining the power could be dropped due to like something like a hammer down. Gaining 2 health points isn't really a big deal right now, and drawing 2 cards could open them up quite well. And they're going to another Belumbra, so definitely starting to pull out their resources now. Okay, Belumbra hits the field. Belumbra will once again shut off Minismoke's strategy. Now, if you're Bob, surely you go Monstarmory Blader here. I mean, that would seem to be the biggest or the best play in this scenario. Because even if Minismoke, I guess, ooh, a specialty debt, that's gonna force Minismoke immediately. That's definitely gonna force Minismoke. Surely Minismoke has to try and, I just don't know what you do, because you can bounce back the specialty debt, but then you could just play it again. So I guess you could bounce back Belumbra or Tactician. They wouldn't be able to bring out Tactician because Belumbra's not perished now due to its, like, since Tactician was revived, you would have to, if it gets sunk to the asset, fulfill its conditions again. So in this case, Special Detonation Soldier, basically what it does is it's a class 2 monster that can remove the specialty or ability of a monster in play. And why this is such a scary thing for Minismoke is they really need the specialty of Monstarmory Blader. It is a huge part of their game. They've already lost one blader. I believe this is their last blader. So you can especially move the blader as necessary. They do not stop it, but they still have the big Templar on field. So I do wonder how Bob is going to deal with that. Obviously, there is the idea of just bouncing it back. And they're moving it to the side, so what are they making way for? That's what I want to know. I think you could see a blader. You could see... I don't think Dragodian, there's not any space. Tantalus is interesting, but that will be very good to have Templar. And they're going to grab a Glowjaw. Cannon Templar will drop now. Bob takes over on the field. Has the biggest monsters with a lot of shutting off of Minismoke strategies. I don't know how Minismoke will deal with that Monster Army Tactician. Okay, just calculating the stats now. This is very strong still. 38-75, but not big enough to deal with Monster Army Tactician. The problem is if Bob tries to make Tactician fight that Templar. Okay, so we've got multi-attacks now on all of those asset cards from Bob, which is very good. But again, like I said, it might not matter. Go into conflict. This is a very gutsy play because if Templar gets bigger than Tactician, Bob's in trouble. Holy smokes, there's no way that happened. Wow. I can't believe that worked. I really thought Minismoke was going to stop that, but it looks like Bob might be turning this match around. Balumbra going over the blader. If this works as well, then this could be absolutely gigantic. Holy smokes, blader's gone. Wow. 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 Going in for a second attack. Holy smokes, dude. Crazy. Wow, Bob has just ripped this and turned this match. They're going to take 4 damage, halving their health. Holy smokes. Wow, that was phenomenal from Bob. Let's see what Minismoke has got left, but that is insane. Just absolutely flipped that within a single turn. Bob is doing his absolute best to shut this game down, and he is working hard for it. Keep in mind that none of the tacticals that Minismoke has down there can activate because of that Balumbra is in play. Balumbra, if I haven't mentioned before, if you're not aware, is this dragon monster here. Basically, it is a card that can stop your enemy from using the constant tacticals while it is in play, but it only lasts a certain amount of turns, as all synergies do, so Bob has to make the absolute most of it while it's around, and Templar comes down. What are they going to send is the question. It's going to be Fire and Smoke. Can you imagine if it was Fire and Smoke? Can you imagine? That would be crazy if it was actually Fire and Smoke. Oh boy! Oh my gosh! It's Fire and Smoke. Oh my gosh. Okay, why does this matter? Well, basically, these are cards that gain 1,000 for each different type in your Perish pile. And, yeah, he got 5,000 on them suckers. Holy smokes. Oh gosh, I almost died there for a second. That's crazy. Wow, how did he get them out? That might be what you're asking right now. Templar sends 2 cards for its specialty, but the great thing about Templar is that because it sends the 2 cards, each of these fire and smoke cards, when they perish, can be played from the perish pile. Now, it's only when they're sent due to a specialty or effect. So, technically, Minismoke has just played a Class 6 for free to then get out 2 5,000 beat sticks for free. It's gonna get crazy. This is just insane. I can't believe that. I didn't know if he would run it because I thought there wasn't enough types to really make it worth it. As 5,000 is not really their peak. Like, generally Crime Partners clocks in at about 7 to 8,000 on average. And then it like maxed out, it's like 10 to 11. But But in this case, I didn't think he was going to run it, but holy smokes, he is going ham right now. Minismoke is definitely not done with this game state. Let's see if Bob has any way to defend this, because if they do, they could probably find a way around it. But if not, it looks like this could be brutal. We've got Templar engaging. Templar's at 1750. Holy smokes, call the police. We're going Infantry Destroyer Saw. This is looked to be secondary effect, I'd imagine, to grab out a Titan, which will make it larger than that Belumbra. Holy smokes, is Belumbra gone? Because if it is, this game is flipped again. Does Bob have a way to defend this attack? Does Bob have a way to stop this attack? If they can stop it, they can still hammer down. Holy smokes, that will shut down the Templar down to its original, which is 1750. What is... Oh, it's worked! Belumbra lives! Oh, man. Surely Minismoke is going to crash. Now, at this point, you have to crash to get rid of that Tactician, because that'll allow you to... This is crazy. Holy smokes. Wow, that was a good shutdown from Bob, but Crime Partners is going to engage the Zentalit to try and shut that off. And now, do they make the crash? Is a good question right now. I'm not sure if anything has adjusted in terms of power-wise, if there's still the same mecha. I think it would be. They're going to engage now the Monstari Tactician looking to crash. If this works... Hammer down again! Holy smokes! All the outs! It's gone! Whoa! Whoa! Holy smokes! Speaking of smokes, Fire Smoke just got smoked! That's crazy! Holy... Oh gosh, that's nuts! Oh my goodness, I can't believe that's happened. Wow! That's crazy! I can't believe that happened. Okay. Wow, Crime Partners does never get dealt with that quickly. Like, holy smokes. I am trying to keep my language clean, but my goodness, that is crazy. I can't believe that got shut down. Wow. We are going into Blader. Blader, obviously, now Minismoke still cannot activate their constant tacticals. What does Blader wish to do? Will Minismoke respond to this play? They're going to pop the max 10 to bounce back the Crime Partners to their hand, which really sucks because Crime Partners is a class 6 and super bricky in the hand. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. This is the final turn before sudden death, which means Minismoke's still dead. At this point, if they don't do anything, we have got 7 attacks. Minismoke's on 4 health. Regenerator! Oh my gosh! Why did we need that? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. We're going Regenerator as well. This is a card that basically, whenever a monster perishes, you can use it to grab a Regeneration. Regeneration is a card that can give a specialty back. This is like a generator of specialty returning. Holy smokes, Bob is pushing out all the stops. He's going for the jugular. This is lethal if Minismoke can't stop it. Where's the second deck? What's he got? Surely he can drop Monstari Tactician or Belumbra at this point. Belumbra's coming down. This could be a really good play for Minismoke still, because they can grab something from Belumbra perishing, which could be really big to shut down Bob right now. But this is definitely in a very precarious position for the Brazilian. Monstari Tactician gonna put a whooping. Holy smokes. Let's see. Do we get Grim Staff? What craziness! This is literally the turn before sudden death. They couldn't activate it a turn later, and they're gonna send the Monstari Tactician of their own and a Leo. Holy crap! This game just got real. Leo's been sent. Oh no! This is huge. Okay, why is this crazy? Leo is a card from the Sky Soldiers, not even remotely associated with Monstari. But because they're using Grim Staff, they can use Grim Staff to play Leo regardless of its conditions. The only reason this is not insanely broken is the fact that it is generally very well telegraphed. But because this is played on the turn before sudden death, that means that this is only one turn of real prior knowledge, and Bob is going to be in a crap load of trouble next turn, as you're about to see. But Minismoke still needs to survive this turn. So we got Grimstaff, and Belumbra's going to revive something. If Belumbra revives Monstari Tactician, they will lose their Belumbra. Six attacks left. Minismoke's still facing lethal, so they will need to activate Belumbra now. If they play a single card, they will miss timing. Let's see if Minismoke is smart enough to take this. Then again, maybe they got something different planned. They can always revive it from Grimstaff. I just think they've got no response. Holy smoke, still 6 attacks left. Minismoke weighing up their options now. I almost thought he said this is game then. We're going to go Blader from discards. They're going to play that from Belumbra. That's a weird play. So that is back from play. It can pop the Regenerator. And that will allow them to bounce back Monstari Tactician. Or Belumbra. Either way, they won't be gone this turn. But they will definitely lose that Blader. The only problem I have with this strategy of Minismokes is it actually kind of stuffs them with Leo. Because Leo now is no longer as big a deal. The correct play probably would have been Tactician here. Well, I guess actually the True actually gets bounced back to second deck. It doesn't get... I don't know, man. This is a very unusual play. Why? But I would have gone for... I guess he wants to kill Tactician. But they can just revive it with Belumbra. I don't know why this play was done. Wait. Hold on. How did they play stuff? How did they play staff when Belumbra's in play? Just gonna check something now. Belumbra was in play when Grimstaff was played. So there's no way it could have activated. Grimstaff can't revive them. Okay, so we're going to have to just wreck on that now. So Monstari going to go Belumbra now. Okay, so that will shut off the Apexes. They will still get Monstari Tactician, but they will not get Leo. That sucks. That really sucks. Wow. Ooh, that is rough. That is rough. That is rough. Oh, that is rough. Oh dear, now we're in sudden death. Grimstaff cannot activate. So technically, Minismoke can use Grimstaff now to expand the placements. Just checking here now. Rulings. Yeah, so just confirming now. So they can't send any Apexes for Grimstaff. Unfortunately, we're not going to bring that back, as it is a very clear ruling with Penumbra. You cannot activate constants, or your enemy doesn't get activations from constants. But when Penumbra's gone, Grimstaff has a secondary effect that can activate whilst in play, which will expand Minismoke's placement size to 5, which is still pretty good. But losing Leo was pretty big. Losing Leo is pretty big here. Definitely, I had to take a quick second there because I wasn't sure. Yeah, that was definitely very weird. Ooh, losing Leo is still pretty big. Roll of 6 for Minismoke. They're going to go into Crime Partners again. Great roll. I don't know if it's bigger than Tactician, but it's definitely big. Still 5, huh? Okay. So what we got? Elder, we got Otherworld, we got Fighter, we got Mecha, Dragon. Huh, guess that must be it. Crazy. Going Tactician now. Now Tactician can boost itself to 6,000 with its own specialty and use itself to beat over Bob's Tactician. But Bob is in a really good spot right now. Okay, gaining 1,000 on Monster Tactician. This is Bob, probably Minismoke's last stand here. Losing Leo was huge. That was a major misplay, wow. If they had avoided using Staff till after they'd bounced back Penumbra, they'd have been fine. Oh, wow. It's just so tense now, anything could happen. Monster Tactician engages Monster Tactician 6,000 to 5,000. Blader can sack. Gonna kill Termination to bounce back. Okay, Crime Partners. Okay, this is a big one, boys, because now Tactician is in a situation where Minismoke has no Crime Partners on the field, and Bob needs a way to out that Tactician. If he can get through Tactician, he can win the match. Roll of 4. Can Bob, after debuting in December 2022, finally grab the pro title after winning the January Rookie Division tournament? Can Bob break through and become a pro champion? Let's see. Roll of 4. Here we go. We're playing Tim the Toad. After all these years, Tim the Toad comes back, going to conflict. Monster Tactician looking to crash them. Can Mies hammer down, shuts him down. Oh, the play. Is this over for Bob? Bob is going to pop the stained glass star to bounce back Tactician, which will save his own Tactician. Holy smokes! This means that Minismoke can still play their Monster Tactician to defend themselves. Dang. But Minismoke now has a chance to turn this around for their own. Can they do it? 3 versus 1. Less cards in deck, less cards in asset, and they'll probably have about the same cards in hand there, but what can they pull off? Roll of 4. Placements are at 5. What can they pull off? Drawing 2. Looking at what's left of their deck. Minismoke is in a position where they need to make a big play here. Shutting off that Tactician changes a lot of how this game goes. Having the larger Tactician is definitely a big deal. Rally unit! It's a rally unit! I did not see that coming. Doozy is losing their mind. And we got a Coconut Hut! Okay, now we're in business. The second game begins now. Let's see what Minismoke has cooked up with Rally Unit. This is a card that every time it gains boost from any sort of, I think it's like a specialty or effect, it doubles. All other cards that raise this monster's power give double normal now. It just gives double any sort of power. Like if something would give it 500, it now gives it 1,000. So Rally Unit is going to be brutal. This is crazy. Rally Unit is, with the right card, could be incredibly devastating. But I think Minismoke needs to get rid of Monstari Blader first. Rally Unit might just be a diversion, potentially. Getting rid of Tactician here with Blader isn't going to do much, so they're going to use Coconut Hut to send their tin to the asset pile. Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is very intense right now. The next play could decide it. Infantry Destroyer! But is this first or second? Looks to be secondary effect, so not yet. Not pulling the trigger. Oh, we're using first effect. Which means it's going to gain 2,000. Okay. So it would have gained 1,000 normally, but it's only going to give 2,000 this time. So that's a decent stat line, 3,200. Not big enough to deal with Monster and Tactician, but definitely is big enough to deal with Blader. Let's see if Minismoke has a way to shut this game down. They've got the bigger Tactician, and they've got a very good rally unit. Does Bob have the way to deal with this? Belumbra hits Fear, which will shut off all the constants. No more Generator, no more Grimstaff. This is hard. I think Belumbra you go after, right? But then there's Double Blader. You don't Double Blader on play. I think at this point, when you're facing Monster Army, you just can't play constants, which is hard because there's a lot of really good constants in the game. I just don't think you can play constants against them. Okay, so we've got Tactician going after Belumbra. 10 Talent is online. Having the power of Monstari Tactician. This is big. This is exactly what APOC did to Minismoke to win the Master Tactician. And now it's happening again to Minismoke. Will they have the way to counter this? Okay. Going to 3,000, that Tactician now. Bob is in a tough position. Well, technically it's more Minismoke, I would say, actually. But if Minismoke can pull this off, somehow survive, maybe. There's still hope for Minismoke while that Tactician is alive. The rally unit is going to be a hard one to deal with. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay, so they're going to make some attacks. Monstari Tactician is engaging Blader. Popping Grimstaff. Rally unit goes back to hand. And then there's the Savage Dual Shield. A very strong play from Bob here. Bob is yet to roll. This could be their crowning moment. Can they make it? Probably been so quiet. It's just so incredibly intense right now between the players. It is both of them trying their best to think of alternative ways to end this. Bob is definitely in the driver's seat right now. Back and forth. So many tough plays. Giving himself another 1,000. Makes it even larger, twice the size of Minismoke's Tactician. Tactician beating over Tactician. Shield! Oh gosh, this is crazy. Minismoke still got gas and the tank is not giving up that tile without a fight, and it's a roll of 5. Can Minismoke turn it around? They've got Crime Partners potentially, but they got the roll of 6 for it. Can they get it out some other way? They've got the ability to draw 2 cards, gain 1,000, or yeah, gain some health. Let's see what they pick. This is very intense. They need to deal with that Blader. Regen. So regen will work to 5,000. But the problem is it's still too small. Still too small. Okay, adding 1,000 to Tactician. They are now even Steven. Rally unit rises again. Oh dear, this is so intense. I'm not sure if Bob has a way to deal with that one-sided Tactician if he loses everything here. I'm not sure he does. I know he has a bit of deck left, but I'm not sure he does. Entering conflict. Tactician to crash with a hammer down, dropping enemy Tactician. Wait. Is it a blanket, or is it... I think it drops it down, right? Let's see what Bob has got. So he's going to take and bounce back the Monster Tactician by popping Generator. Generator will just revive itself. I think, right? Generate should stay there. It doesn't actually get removed. Which is still a pretty big deal for Minismoke. Okay, Judge being very... Wow, that is brutal. That might actually be better for Minismoke, to be honest, but... Yeah, Judge being very, very strict there, not allowing him to get it back since another attack was declared. Wow, okay, yeah, I mean, it's very, dang. That is true, Zvystar makes a good point there in the chat. You don't necessarily actually want Generator back, because if you do get it back, Bob can keep using it for their Mono Blader, or sorry, not Blader, Monstarium Blader. So now it forces Bob to potentially use Monstarium Blader to sack their own hut, which is just a lose-lose. It's actually a good play here to get Regenerator, to be honest. Yeah, Blader exactly sees Weisstein now saying Blader forced to kill its own hut if it does use its ability. Pass it to Bob. So we were looking at 3250 Blader. Wow, I can't believe that was enough to get it done. Is that GG? It looks like the champion might be conceding. Roll of 2. Tactician will get bigger. Is that a confirmed concede? That is GG. Bob is your new Pro Division champion. Congratulations, Bob. You are the champion now. Well played, everybody. That was a nail biter. Thank you for watching. This has been Tom. Have a good one.